Chicago's front office isn't chasing headlines right now. They're chasing snap efficiency. The kind of efficiency that wins cold weather games and decides divisions in December. You want the clean version? I'll give it to you straight. The Bears are circling one of those buy low, plug-and-play linebackers that makes a coordinator's life easier without burning a hole through the cap. Young legs, angry downhill motor, and the kind of play speed that fixes one of our most frustrating defensive details, closing the edge before it opens. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this move makes sense, how it fits into Ben Johnson's defensive vision, and why it might be the missing link between good and dangerous. Let's start with the reality of where we stand. Chicago's identity this season has been defined by growth, a young quarterback learning to manage tempo, an offensive line finding chemistry, and a defense that has carried us through the rough patches with toughness and structure. But every Sunday, one thing keeps showing up on tape. Plays where the first hit comes 2 steps too late. The front gets its push, the safeties hold their shell, but the second level doesn't always meet the ball with the kind of violence this scheme demands. It's not effort. It's not talent. It's pure speed and angles. And that's exactly where the rumor that's now turning into reality comes in. The Bears are closing in on linebacker Christian Harris from the Houston Texans. Now, I'm not tossing that name around lightly. This isn't a fantasy trade or a random link. Harris checks every box this staff has emphasized since Ben Johnson took over. Age under 25, rookie scale deal, verified athleticism, and above all, a skill set that upgrades a specific weakness. At Alabama, Harris was a pure run-and-hit linebacker. Explosive, aggressive, with real closing burst. In Houston, under DeMeco Ryans, he flashed that same speed in spurts, but injuries and depth chart shifts turned him from starter to rotational piece. And you know what that means in this league? Undervalued talent. He's healthy now, he's cheap, and he's got something to prove. And that's the kind of player Chicago loves to bet on. Let's talk scheme for a second. Johnson has been building his defense like a craftsman. Start with structure, then add fire. Tremaine Edmonds is the anchor. Long, instinctive, the communicator. TJ Edwards is the stabilizer. Disciplined, clean in pursuit, consistent. But behind them, the rotation has been patchwork. Sanborn has grit and IQ, but what this linebacker room lacks is raw acceleration. Harris brings that. He's not the technician Edmonds is, but he's the heat-seeking missile that turns 5-yard runs into 1-yard collisions. And that changes everything for a defense that's already strong up front. You can see the fit on film before it even happens. Picture this. 3rd and 2, defense showing bare front. Harris shaded strong side, eyes on the pulling guard. Snap hits, he shoots the B-gap, beats the block, and stonewalls the back before contact. That's not just a good tackle, that's a tone setter. In Ben Johnson's system, that moment ripples across the entire drive. Suddenly, you're off the field, your offense starts near midfield, and your quarterback's confidence grows. That's what these midseason trades are about. Not splashy names, but plays that shift momentum in real time. From a roster-building perspective, this is surgical. Harris is in the final year of his rookie deal. His 2025 number sits in the mid-3 million range, with 0 dead money after the season. Translation: total flexibility. You get a physical upgrade now without compromising the future. If he hits, you extend him early at a team-friendly number. If not, you walk away clean. The compensation, based on conversations across the league, would likely be a conditional 6th that can escalate to a 5th based on snap count and production. That's a low-risk, high-upside play for a team that's built its turnaround on discipline and smart spending. I've watched Harris's tape closely this year, and here's the truth, the burst is still there. The hips are a little tight. That shows up in longer coverage zones. But his first step downhill, electric. When he diagnoses a run, he arrives angry. He's one of those linebackers who makes the field smaller for running backs. And in Chicago, that matters, because this defense is designed to suffocate, not chase. The coverage limitations. That's why you use him as a base package backer and early down blitzer, not as a pure zone dropper. It's about alignment, not reinvention. So how does the rotation work? Simple. Edmonds stays the communicator, Edwards continues to handle the high-traffic reads, and Harris slides in as the Sam backer. The physical edge presence who can play downhill and attack the run fits that demand suddenness. On special teams, he's an immediate impact player. Kick coverage, punt shield, short yardage sets, the kind of work that wins field position without fanfare. The Bears have been emphasizing versatility and violence across all three phases, and Harris fits both. Let's also talk locker room dynamics because chemistry matters here. Harris doesn't walk in as a headline player. He walks in as a worker. He's known for being coachable, quiet, and focused, which fits this locker room's DNA perfectly. Poles and Johnson have been crystal clear about culture. No egos, no noise, just football. That's why you saw veterans like Jalen and Montez Sweat step up as tone setters this year. And Harris, at 24, slides right into that ecosystem without shaking the hierarchy. You can feel how this move reshapes the unit's energy. With Harris in the fold, Johnson can expand his pressure menu. More sim pressures, more creepers, more looks that confuse quarterbacks into throwing hot into coverage. On third downs, expect to see Harris aligned as the fifth rusher, timing the snap to collapse protection, with Edmonds dropping underneath to erase the checkdown. Against mobile quarterbacks, he becomes your spy, the athlete who mirrors the pocket without losing leverage. This is how you modernize a defense in season, not with slogans, but with speed. I know the question that's coming. Is it enough to change the Bears' ceiling this year? Here's my answer. Maybe not alone, but it moves the needle. Because football is about stacking margins. One player who closes faster, who eliminates one third down conversion per game, who flips one drive per Sunday. That's how you turn 7-10 into 10-7, and that's what we're talking about here. Harris doesn't need to be a star. He just needs to tilt the math in our favor. And don't underestimate the message it sends through the building. It says this front office is paying attention, that they're willing to act decisively but smartly, that every snap matters, and that the standard inside Halas Hall is rising. Moves like this are what separate patient teams from passive ones. Before we close, I want your take because this channel runs on real fan football minds. If the deal goes down at a conditional day 3 price, are you on board? Would you deploy Harris as the base Sam or as a situational blitzer? Do you trust his range to add value immediately, or would you prefer Chicago to draft and develop from within? Drop your opinion below. I'll be reading every take. Here's my professional, measured conclusion. Christian Harris to Chicago is exactly the kind of trade that makes sense when you're serious about details. It's not flashy, it's functional. It doesn't break headlines, it builds wins. A young, hungry linebacker who runs through contact, fits the salary structure, and adds juice to a unit that already has brains and brawn. That's how you grow sustainably. In a league where playoff hopes are built on depth and discipline, this is the definition of both. If you value football that's built, not bought, hit that like button. Subscribe to Bears News Fan Report and turn on notifications. Because when this move hits the wire, we'll break it first, with all the context that matters. No rumors, no filler, just Chicago football straight from the heart.